welcome back to Shire Travels. In this one, we're heading 3 hours west of Melbourne to the Grampians. This was going to be one of those typical Victorian weekends away where we were expecting every single type of weather. This is when I'm really grateful for all the storage that we have in the caravan, and I can safely overpack for myself and the kids. And we were going to be away for 3 nights. Now for the kids, I try and pack enough clothes that they can go through a couple of outfits a day. Our kids are quite young and they do tend to get very messy. Another thing I do before we leave is I pack up their drawing cases with a few stickers, colouring books. I also pack the organiser that we have in between the 2 back seats, has their water bottles and a few toys. Another couple of things I prepared for this trip are just a few notes on what we can see and do. And then I also printed out the Grampians National Park Road Report. And what this does is it tells you all the roads that are open and shut and the conditions of the road. And it's updated usually every couple of weeks. So this one I've got here is from the 14th. And they actually released one on the 26th of November, the day before we went. On the road, the kids got stuck into their drawing tablets, and just to note that this is what the car looks like after about half an hour. Now we had left after work, so we decided to stop in Beaufort to get some dinner. Just went down to the local fish and chip shop, and I found this park that had toilets, a playground, and an undercover seating area, and it was perfect for a quick stop to have some dinner. For our weekend trip to the Grampians, we were going to be staying in Halls Gap Lakeside Tourist Park. We'd stayed here for a night on our way back from the Flinders Ranges and really liked it. We knew if we were coming back to the Grampians, this is where we were going to stay. We arrived at about 7:30 at night and got set up in our site. So we were site 82 in the powered section. This beautiful grassy reserve is right next to the caravan park. It's always full of kangaroos and occasionally full of emus as well, and some very friendly cockatoos. It's a beautiful spot to sit and watch the sunset with all the roos around and the mountains in the background. Now I'll just show you a very quick walk around of the caravan park. So they have lots of clotheslines dotted around. They have 2 wood-fired heated pools, which are fantastic. They are so warm. They have this really nice outdoor seating area with a couple of barbecues. Inside they've got a lovely lounge with a wood fire, and then a laundry and also a very big kitchen. By the time we got the kids to bed, it was about 9 o'clock, and so we decided to just sit down and do a bit of planning for the next couple of days. We woke up to beautiful blue skies and started to get ready for the day. Now we plugged into power but noticed this issue with our battery saying it was offline. This has happened occasionally and we do have to switch it off at the isolator and then it does seem to work again. But it does happen quite often. It's a bit annoying. As the weather was looking so good and everyone had fresh legs, we decided to do the walk up to the Pinnacle, which is one of the most popular walks that you can do in the Grampians. Halls Gap Lakeside Tourist Park is right next to Lake Belfield, and you can see here the dam wall, which was directly behind our caravan. There's quite a nice area around the lake. You can walk up to a viewing platform. There's a couple of picnic benches. The walk we were doing up to the Pinnacle was from Sundial Car Park. Now this is the shortest route up to the Pinnacle. You can do a walk which is about 9.5 k's in a loop from Halls Gap. However, with 2 little kids, that was just not going to be possible. From Sundial Car Park to get to the Pinnacle, it's about 4.2 k's return. The first 500 meters of the walk is a very flat track. The next bit, there's a little bit of rock scrambling, but it's nothing too bad. Another flat section, and then when you get to the very top, it is quite rocky towards the end. Now the most difficult part of the walk that we found was actually that the track is quite sandy, and when it's on the smooth rocks it just made them become really slippery. My shoes in particular were pretty well worn flat, and so there were a couple of times where I was slipping down the rocks. Just bear that in mind, it might be better to wear shoes with a little bit of grip. The walk itself really wasn't too strenuous. Our 4-year-old managed it. We did have to use up an entire pack of Tim Tams in bribes there and back, but she managed it nonetheless. At the very end is the Pinnacle lookout. If you don't have a head for heights, this one is definitely not for you. I was holding on to the railing the entire time. The views are stunning though of the surrounding Grampians and also down on Halls Gap and Lake Belfield there in the distance. It probably wouldn't be a bad spot for sunrise or sunset, but there are plenty of other viewing areas in the area, such as the balconies and Reed's Lookout, that are really nice sunset spots. What goes up must come down, and it was time to head back to the car park. These bits that we filmed here are probably the most difficult sections of the tracks. As you can see, it's just uneven, rocky ground. Though they do have yellow markers throughout showing you where to go, and so it's not too hard to find your way. Back at the car park, we decided to have a spot of lunch. They also have a couple of drop toilets there. After lunch, we decided to head to Mackenzie Falls, which is another really popular spot in the Grampians. Tom and I had been here before and I had completely misremembered what it was like. I thought the walkway and getting down to the waterfalls was right next to the car park. I think it was around about an 800-meter return walk, which doesn't sound too bad, but there are a lot of steps. Now we made it to the lookout here and that was enough for Tom and the kids. They were channeling their Harvey Norman, zero interest in going down to the waterfalls. They just wanted to get back to the car and get ready to go into town and get some ice cream. So I said that I would run down to the bottom of the falls just to get a few pictures and videos. Now going down was fine, coming back up wasn't that great. It's 260 steps back up and the sign says that they are strenuous steps. Now getting down to the bottom, it was quite different to the last time that we were there. Everything is barricaded off. If you watched our video of when we went to Woolshed Falls near Wangaratta, this is exactly what I was talking about when I said it's a bit of health and safety gone mad. Apparently they are doing works to try and reopen sections of the waterfall so you can walk around and see it a bit better. And that's just another thing to note, that apparently from January 2026, Mackenzie Falls is going to be shut for around 6 months. Part of the track they're trying to make wheelchair accessible. I'm not quite sure what part of the track that would be. And then they are also building a new viewing platform down the bottoms, so I guess you can expect even more steps and railings. Driving back into town, we saw this emu on the oval, and we decided to then head to the ice cream shop. There's a couple in town. We chose to go to Coolers, and the ice creams were delicious. There were a couple of very satisfied customers. After our ice creams, our youngest needed to have a nap, and so we thought, why not do a car nap and go for a bit of a drive and explore some of the four-wheel drive tracks in the southern Grampians. I've attempted to show you the loop that we did, but Google Maps is just hopeless, but these are some of the tracks. This time last year, the Grampians suffered a really terrible bushfire. It burnt a huge area of the park and almost got to Hall's Gap. It got within, I think, a kilometre, a few hundred metres, but luckily the little town wasn't impacted. Now, because of this, a lot of the tracks are still closed, and this is where that road report comes in really handy. Now, it's a little hard to see from this footage as it is quite far away, but every single tree that you can see there in the distance on that mountain and up close is completely burnt. Tom and I both said that we had never driven through somewhere that looked like this before, with the trees completely black, but then with the green shoots of new growth coming through. How there was still part of the tree that was still alive to be able to grow through the black and charcoal trunk, I just don't know. I guess it goes to show just how resilient these trees and plants can be. And it was interesting driving on the track as well. You can see there are some areas where the fire wasn't as tall and all the canopies survived, and other areas where just everything was completely burnt to a crisp. Now, all of the tracks that we did that day were really easy. They are classified, most of them, as four-wheel drive tracks, but as you can see, they are flat. Some of them were really sandy. They might have had a few little rocks, but really they were nothing technical in any way, shape or form. They could have been done very easily with a two-wheel drive, with the exception of this track here, which was just a little side track between two of the main tracks. It didn't actually have a name. And we found this big bog hole. Now what I did was go through with a stick and poke the bottom just to make sure it was firm. There were also plenty of places that we could winch off as well, so we weren't too worried about getting through. As well as the new growth on the trees, there was actually heaps of wildlife around there as well. We saw plenty of kangaroos, evidence of deer, and even this echidna, which was burying itself down into a bull ant's nest. It wasn't very happy that we were there. Now, while the road report was quite useful, it was a little bit confusing as there are lots of tracks in the area that seem to have similar names. So there was Sarah Road, Sarah Link Road, there's Beehive Track, there's Beehive Falls. There's lots of places which have very similar, if not the same name. There was also one track we did which was Boundary Road and said it had deep river crossings. We didn't see a river anywhere the whole time that we were on it. And if you watch our video next week, you will see that we did a track which was just labeled the same as all the others as a 4-wheel drive track. We thought it would just be flat and sandy, and we ended up getting quite stuck. On our way back towards Halls Gap, it started to rain. Now, we had anticipated that it was going to be the worst time of the day for weather, and so we decided to book ourselves dinner at the local pub. We went to the Halls Gap Hotel. The food was really good. They had an indoor playground that the kids absolutely loved, despite the fact that both of them ran into the glass walls that they have there. But a good night and a good excuse to get away from the wet weather. Back at camp, it was far too wet to have a fire, so we sat under the awning. I fired up my electric blanket and we played some cards. In next week's episode, we chased some more waterfalls. We found this incredible hidden infinity pool, get stuck and end up losing not one but 2 tyres. If you've liked this one, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe to follow along.